Welcome, everybody, to the Do Nothing Project for Sunday, August 9th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm not Andrew. Andrew's going to be on next week. Apologies to anyone who was super looking forward to his guidance. I was looking forward to it. We sent out a little note a couple days before, I guess, about what's happening, but last minute we decided to switch it up because I'm not going to be around next week. So Andrew was kind enough to do that. So thank you, Andrew, and thank you for moderating tonight. For all our regulars, everyone who's back, good to see you in the distant chat window. Hope you are all having a good week. Hope you're ready to do absolutely nothing for the next 30 minutes or so. If you've never been to the Do Nothing Project, the line is good to keep the expectations low. Not a whole lot happens. It's kind of the idea. I sometimes randomly will wonder about someone surfing the internet, flipping through YouTube and accidentally coming upon this live stream and wondering how it's possible. Sort of like a live stream that's about watching paint dry. Just someone sitting there with their eyes closed, not doing anything at all. But that's the idea. The idea is just to do a simple practice, to do it in community, take a break from our busy weeks or busy weekends or busy lives, just to, I guess, our busy doing. Take a break from the doing to reset. And of course, this is a deep training. You know, I like making fun of the Do Nothing Project, hence the title. But really, the training is arguably the deepest training that a human being can do. Because the training is really learning how to bring that quiet, that composure, that I guess that stillness, whatever your word for it, whatever it is that starts to become more obvious in our experience when we sit and do nothing. Really, it's about beginning to bring that into our everyday doings, that we're able to stay sort of centered and composed and make our best responses. And so there's this way in which this practice of doing nothing can begin to change and I would say improve. I mean, that is definitely the contemplative line, and it's been my experience, are all of the doing for the rest of the day. And that's just really on the surface. That's just the normal reorientations that happen as a matter of course to, you know, your average experienced meditator. As you get into the practice longer and longer, it gets more and more interesting in some way. It's sort of more and more interesting and more ordinary. It's sort of this paradox, but I guess you could say that the quiet that you cultivate in this simple practice starts to become more and more compelling. And there can be a sort of figure ground reversal where the stuff of your life that pulls us in all the time from the everyday perspective, there starts to be a little bit more space around it. And the stuff that's behind our life, the fact that we have a life at all of that begins to kind of like dial up, and it creates a certain mystery and poignancy and sacredness to experience. That's just one way to talk about it. But as that happens, of course, the substance of our personality is there in the foreground. That's the kind of the figure. That's I guess the relative stuff, the conditioned stuff. But this other thing has nothing to do with our personality, has nothing to do with our bodies or our minds, and yet it seems to be something that we can become aware of. It seems to have something to do with our own deepest identity. So that's, I don't know. I just decided to talk about that. But that's definitely one direction the practice can lead. And who knew? I'm just sitting around doing nothing. So if you ever needed a reason, not that you do, you could say that you've got two reasons. There's the sort of like the relative reason of just getting a little bit more chill, a little bit more available, a little bit more, I guess, present in your life. And then there's this more absolute reason, which is to begin to know yourself in a deeper way, in a different way, and to know everyone else too in that way. And that's really coming into the spiritual dimension of the practice, although it's all spiritual in a way. So, having said that, we're going to do something enormously mundane. I was thinking that I just want to lead a very dead, minimal, simple practice, something that I do once in a while. I was doing it today, actually, which is what gave me the idea. Sometimes I just want to get settled and focus on the simplest thing in the world. And I often go to the upper lip, kind of the classic meditation classic. If you've ever done a Goenka retreat, those 10-day Vipassana retreats in the Goenka tradition, those retreats, the first 3 days, you just spend basically, they call it sharpening the scalpel. You just spend literally trying to notice the pixelation of your nostrils, the most subtle sensation of kind of warmth or coolness right here. And you do that for 3 days. And once you really got your attention sharp, then you start doing body scans for the rest of the 7 days. And you get all this interesting flow that often happens. But that exercise right at the top of just kind of sharpening the scalpel, getting, it can be a wonderfully concentrating and very simple practice that can be very appealing to some folks. So I'm going to guide that. If that sounds like really uninteresting to you, obviously you can do your own practice. The default here is always just sitting and being, eyes open or closed. But if you want to follow along, I'll guide it and see if I can help you increase the resolution of the waving kelp-like forest seaweed fronds of your nostril hairs. See how zoomed in you can get. So, very sorry for that image. Let's meditate. "35 minutes. No, 25 minutes. So we'll go to 8:35. Okay, so a little bit congested here, so you may hear the occasional sniffle. If you like, you can start by taking a few deep breaths. Now, the eyes, by the way, they can be open, or if you like having them, you can have them closed, or you can have them open. If they're open, a lot of people like having them sort of half-mast, looking at the ground in front of them, but it's up to you. Stretch up a bit on the inhale, finding some alertness. And then the exhale, that's sort of the downward motion. You can deliberately relax the face and the jaw and the shoulders. Relax the belly and the hands. Maybe you want to have them on your lap or on your knees. And right at the beginning, you kind of find that meditation's like edge writing. You want to stay alert. So you got the straight spine, you're awake. And you want to do it in this very relaxed way. So you can use the breath to kind of breathe out any tension here on the exhale. And then there's our composure piece, the equanimity muscle. Super important, I think, to check in with this right at the beginning of a sit. And that's sort of this commitment to not get uptight about distractions and imperfections, but to stay open. Something very dignified in equanimity. Sort of like, yeah, I'm not going to have a freak out if there's sounds I don't like, or if I've got body aches and pains. If I've got a busy mind. I'm not going to try to block those things or wish them away. Just sort of this sober acknowledgement that this is what's here in reality in this moment in your environment. Certainly in my environment, I can hear sounds from the street and those cicadas making that summertime sound. So you just welcome everything. And that welcoming is actually tangible. It's like, it means, are you open? Open through the front as opposed to braced. When we're not open, it often feels like a contraction, something contracted, something guarding, or a fixation, like you're holding on to something, you won't give it up. So some people like to say right here, just sitting in this open way and existing, noticing what you notice, aware, present, in presence, enjoying your own company and the company of the wider community. Or if you want to come along with our little focusing adventure, you can bring your attention to some home base that you like. And the one I'm going to work with tonight, and I'll give a few prompts around, is this very small area right up around the nostrils. So the idea is that that's sort of a place that everyone can sort of notice, although it's quite subtle. And the feeling of the breath as it comes in there, sort of like the breath is a little cool as it goes in. And it's a little warm as it goes out. There's this light tickling up there. So the idea is, how sensitive can you cultivate your attention? How sharp can it be? And you're not straining here. It's just you lightly bring your attention to that area and you just see, curious, what happens if you just keep your attention here minute after minute? So explore this for a bit. Good. So patient while things get settled here. Takes a while to Kind of start to get in the zone. Of course, if your mind wanders, you just notice that and good naturedly come back. Just notice, even here again, if you're straining at all. You don't want to be tense when you're doing this. It's not like you're trying to drill into your nostril. Just noticing in this very sensitive, delicate way. What is the smallest surface area there? Can you notice each sort of pixel of warmth? And it'll be easier if you get a little bit still. There's this kind of stillness piece that can help. Can you get so clear that you can literally notice the air moving through your nostril hairs, if you have nostril hairs? Perhaps you don't. But you get the idea. Sometimes when we work with the breath, the kind of rhythmic quality of the breath can help get us absorbed. There's this regularity, this sort of metronome. We can kind of choose to get into that, to kind of appreciate that. That might be something that's sort of subtly available. At a certain point, the inquiry can get sort of strange in the sense that you're trying to notice the subtlest little pixel of sensation in this very small area. And as you do, sometimes it might occur to you to wonder, what is a sensation? What is any sensation? It's not a nose, it's not a nostril, it's not, although it refers to those things, but the experience of the smallest little pixel. What is it? Just energy? Just a vibration? How delicately can you parse the pixels, the smallest bits? It's all just made of air, made of nothing. The Nothing Happening Project. And it's like that in any direction, any sensation, any sound, any visual sensation, any physical, somatic one. It's all just pixels on the screen of awareness. And we can get curious about any one of those. The longer we hold our attention in a particular direction, the less of anything seems to actually be there, much like the physical world. One last little bit here. You can rein in your attention a bit and just relax, like kind of coasting on the momentum of the practice. So if you want to keep on the nostril, you can, but only if it's just what naturally wants to happen anyway. You can also just kick back and be really resting in whatever place you find yourself now after that little tiny dive into the 0 point under your nose. Tiny, huge dive. Nice. Now that you're feeling emptied out, a good time to fill back up again with some friendly vibes. So if you feel like it, we can do a little practice here that's around letting different people in your life sort of spontaneously pop into your head. Maybe it's your dog, or your kid, or your barber, whom you're now able to see, but maybe, depending on where you live. Just different people pop into your head, and then you can just send them some appreciation. Maybe there's a phrase that works for you, something like, may you be strong, may you be happy, may your heart know peace, may you be peaceful, whatever. I mean, what would you want for this being that you're visualizing right now, that you're connecting to? May you be happy. Or just, I appreciate you. I appreciate this opportunity to have this connection in this life. So few connections. I was looking at a map of space, this amazing astronomy book, and it's just all empty space. Infinite, 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 and infinite goes on, and just all these stars, all this. So, the numbers are so high. And then I was thinking about our lives. Every connection we have is so intimate because there's so few. Even the 100,000 connections we make, if that's what it is in a lifetime, is nothing compared to the scale of everything else. You realize that even the most careless connection, there's a kind of intimacy there because that's the one that happened in your life. Let alone these people who are closest to us, these animals and kids and humans. So yeah, feeling that connection, appreciating that connection, even if they're annoying sometimes. Connections are like our nest, our little nests. we hang out in through our life. Everyone on this call too. Connected. Getting darker out. You know that book, maybe you heard it, I think it's called Night Watch. Some astronomer, some famous astronomy book, popular astronomy book, really amazing, just incredible pictures and diagrams of the night sky, and has that same powers of 10 sequence where you go out and out. You know, you're in this, first of all, there's a billion stars, and then it's only just your galaxy, and then you come out and you realize that there's as many galaxies as there are freaking stars practically. It's just the dots themselves are galaxies, and you pan back. But of course, everywhere you go, it's just empty space. It's like just space. And it's the same when you go in, you know, obviously, the microscopic level, the world of atoms and, you know, photons and whatever all that stuff is, just space. And then it's interesting because it's the same in your consciousness. When you direct your attention anywhere for any length of time, or you kind of explore it, just starts to, there's nothing there. Seems like there's nothing there anywhere. Rather disconcerting and exciting. I'll restore the chat here. Yeah, Night Watch. That's it. Harrison likes the pixels of awareness line. Yeah, I mean, it's a metaphor I think a lot of people probably use. Space out until next time, says Johnny. So people are given tips for how you can use your meditations you do here for, put them in your phone, and you can use that for the 10% Happier Challenge or something. Yes, nice to be in this part of space with you too, Fred. Nice to hang out with everybody. Well, you'll see me again, I think, on Wednesday, and then Andrew will be here. Seeing his meditation is going to be awesome next Sunday. Thanks, Andrew, for moderating. Thank you, Lily and Milen. Thank you, all my friends here, PJ, Heidi Jane, Nancy, Siobhan, Diana, Chris, Lindsay, Mary Lou, Lauren. Good to have you guys. Be well, everybody. Hey, Mike, nice to see you. Jackie, Ken, hey, Ken. It is amazing. Beth saying, get this place of peace and calm. Well, it's your own nervous system. It just needs the prompt, little prompt. We just need an excuse to do it, you know? Anyway, much love to everybody. See you on Wednesday. Good night.